fields are breathing slow. There's a mother calling softly for the child she came to know. We took her milk, we took her baby, called it custom, called it need. But the earth remembers every bond we break to feed our greed. Bring the calves back to their mothers, bring the milk back to the young. Let no baby be taken before their life's begun. Bring them home.
We have the honor of bringing up who's become my very dear friend, Lisa Levinson, and she is the campaign director for In Defense of Animals and is the co-founder of Interfaith Vegan Coalition, which I have loved being a part of. It's just been a real honor. And Lisa is also the Interfaith Vegan Coalition is also who does our morning and evening prayers for many years now for our vegan convergence of the people. And Lisa is one of those people that are so humbly out there every day doing what she can do for the animals and the earth and the connection between doing that in a loving way. Sometimes when I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed and I realize I need to calm down, I remember Lisa. And I remember that she can do all this from a calm, beautiful presence. So thank you so much, Lisa, for being here.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here and especially to be part of this amazing initiative that Tammy is putting together. It's been a delight to work with her more closely on the International Calf and Cow Mother's Day, and that this whole weekend is all celebrating this new holiday for everyone, for all beings. So I'm here today to talk a bit about the campaigns that In Defense of Animals has for mothers and their babies. And I'm also going to share about the Interfaith Vegan Coalition and what we've been doing in collaboration to support all species. So it's my honor and privilege to be able to share all of this with you today. I'm going to share my screen if that's okay. Let me go ahead and get this together, pushing all the buttons. And let's see here. Wonderful. So I think you're seeing my screen. I hope so. And then I'm going to go ahead and get into the slideshow mode here. Wow, as I mentioned, and also Tammy said, I am the campaigns director for In Defense of Animals. So I am lucky to work with all of our incredible campaigners who do so much for the animals on the ground and through writing these alerts. Some of you have seen them where you push the button to take action and to sign. And those are initiatives that we work on with partners internationally and also with some of you. Activists who reach out to us, we listen and we actually take up campaigns specifically upon requests by people who support us and who care about the animals and reach out to us. So we are thrilled to be able to use our resources to help animals of all species. And so for today, what we'll be doing is going over some of the campaigns that we have that highlight the relationship between mothers and their babies. So one thing that many of us know is that there is legalized cruelty going on within our midst. We have, through standard practices with farmed animals, there's cruelty happening every day, every minute. And some of this is happening through sexual violation, through forcible impregnation, and through the mutilations of animals, such as their tail docking, beak cutting, also taking babies from their mothers. This happens on a regular basis through the food system that we have. And this may be something as egregious as having the baby chicks. They go along these conveyor belts, and the little boy chicks are often macerated or they're put into giant garbage bags and suffocated. And this is how we treat newborn babies. This says so much about our culture, as Gandhi said. So here we have animals that are they're in confinement, their babies are being taken from them, and the egg and dairy industries, all the animals eventually are sent to slaughterhouses. Puppy mills is another example of some really difficult and behind closed doors types of cruelty that happens on a regular basis. This is legal cruelty in many areas. So the mothers are repeatedly impregnated. They're denied veterinary care. They are confined and isolated. They have no socialization. They're abandoned, surrendered, or killed when they're no longer considered productive. And as we've seen over the weekend, there was a big rescue of the Rigland facility, which is used for experimentation. And a lot of the puppies there are specifically bred for experimentation. That's another separate industry that is part of the puppy mill. It's just puppy mills for experimentation. So this is a terrible blight on our society. And you can see that the puppies are often sent to the shelter system. Um, and then that fills up the shelter system, which creates a whole other conundrum of problems with spay-neuter issues and animals who are abandoned and become stray and picked up by animal control. So it's really a whole cycle of cruelty. And we have campaigns that are specifically designed to stop this and also to confront some of the animal abuse that happens. We have a Justice for Animals campaign that is out there specifically in Mississippi, trying to stop the puppy mills in that area and also to bring law enforcement on these animal cruelty cases that happen when we end up in situations like this, or sometimes backyard breeders and hoarders. And we are out there trying to stop this on the ground and to train law enforcement so that they actually know a lot of the rules and laws and can then really apply the maximum penalties for these types of abuses. And some of these actions are illegal and they may not even know that. So we're trying to stop that through on-the-ground measures, but also through our alerts, which many of you sign that highlight cruelty cases across the country. And we do follow up on all of those cases. We have a team of people that works to ensure that when people sign those alerts, that your signatures and your letters go directly to decision makers, and those are often DAs or judges in these specific cases. Elephants, another area, a campaign area that we've had for many years. Every year we publish a 10 worst zoos list for animals, especially for the elephants in the United States and North America. So these elephants are often taken from the wild or bred in captivity. Breeding babies for zoos was our theme for our 10 Worst Zoos last year, and it highlighted all of the struggles and the suffering that happens to these bonded elephants. So the males and females are sexually assaulted in order to continue these breeding programs, and they suffer the control and loss, being controlled within their highly structured environments, and the loss of being separated from their families, really, the family bonds that they have. The males are ripped from their mothers and they're shuffled between zoos to breed. And we consider this to be exploitation, not conservation, which is what the zoos continue to say. So please stay tuned for our elephant campaign. We are actually hosting this coming week, if you're interested, a special presentation all about the struggles of breeding animals in zoos, specifically elephants. We have an expert coming from South Africa who will be doing a webinar this week about putting together a breeding ban. He's going to assist us with this new legislative effort that we're undergoing, in addition to our 10 Worst Zoos list. You can find out about this and this information on our website, which is idausa.org. And if you put a / there and elephants, you will find out more about that campaign. We also campaign to protect wild animals. And what we've been working with many organizations around the world for many decades have been trying to stop the annual harp seal slaughter, and we are among them. Every year we put together a new alert trying to dissuade the Canadian government from killing these babies in front of their mothers, which is traumatic. And many of these animals are on the verge of extinction due to habitat loss. And so adding this is insult to injury. And we are also propping up a failing industry. This fur industry is going downhill, and the governments are supporting it through subsidies in addition to continuing these annual hunts. Many of you probably remember years ago the pleading eyes of the baby harp seal, and every child is very aligned with these baby seals. And for many years, there was active protests and efforts on the streets to stop these baby harp seals from being killed. And now we're doing this on a legislative effort and also trying to use advocacy through these alerts and signing petitions and reaching out to decision makers. And other wild animals, which many of you know of, and part of this International Calf and Cow Day specifically refers to the calf and cow, mother and baby orca. And so we are, in our campaigns, we work to end having orcas in captivity. In this situation, the babies are stolen from their pods. For the entertainment industry, they are confined for their whole lives in tiny enclosures, really the size of a bathtub for us. And they often die of loneliness, depression, and grief. We've also seen due to habitat loss, the mothers who are in the wild often will grieve with their baby calf for days and days, diving up and down and holding them, showing their baby who's died, and how sad that is, that even in the wild, these animals are perishing due to starvation, often because of our practices of overfishing. So those are some of our campaigns, just examples of a few. We work on many, many levels to try to heal and repair these broken bonds of mothers and babies of all species. And one way that we do that is through our Interfaith Vegan Coalition. And we declare that all life is sacred and interconnected. Our mission is to work with all faith and secular wisdom traditions to end human-caused violence, domination, and exploitation towards all beings. Some of you may be involved in our meetings. We invite anyone to join and be part of our monthly planning committee meetings. And then we also have organizations who are member orgs, and I'll show you more about that on the next slide. We have just about 65 member organizations. We have 6 allied groups and 2 affiliates and 1 partner. Our partner is the Animal Interfaith Alliance, which is a group based in the UK, and they also have 17 organizations, all dedicated to faith-based vegan advocacy. So we're really excited to strategize together, and we do have quarterly meetings of our member organizations. The next one is coming up on Monday, and our purpose is to strategize and to unite worldwide to promote faith-based vegan advocacy. Over 80% of the world is associated with a tradition or religion, and this is a great opportunity for all of us to promote vegan living through these faith organizations. Recently, we did a special project, which was with the International Golden Rule Day through the Charter for Compassion, which is a large organization, not a vegan one. And so when we joined their annual event, International Golden Rule Day, we were able to promote vegan living to a non-vegan audience. So that's a wonderful benefit of these partnerships that we have. So every year, Golden Rule Day happens on April 5th, and on April 6th, there was a virtual event that we were invited to join in with religious leaders and thought leaders from around the world. And we were able to present that actually the Golden Rule is another word or a synonym for veganism. And that means that we will treat others as we treat ourselves. And we invite this worldwide. We encourage everyone to reconsider the treatment of animals and the suffering that happens in the food, fashion, entertainment, and also in the pharmaceutical industries. We mentioned that this is actually a simple task, something to widen our circles of compassion. If you imagine that we have this circle of humans that we consider part of our world family, what if we were to widen that circle to invite in our animal neighbors who may be in the domestic realm, they may be wild animals, and our vision is that we widen our circles of compassion to include them so that they can be part of our daily lives. And this was something that Isaac Bashevis Singer said in a quote years ago, and we take that to heart. So we want to include our animal neighbors in our thoughts and our prayers and in our actions. And this will bring us peace of mind and also world peace, because that truly begins on our plates. So here is a video that was put together by the Million Vegan Grandmothers and Tammy's coalition or team of people who help her, and including Ray Kowalczyk, who helped in the production of this video. So if you don't mind, I think I'll play it for all of you. It's such a beautiful video, and we got a wonderful reception on Golden Rule Day from playing this.
Do unto others, mothers and babies, their homes beneath the wandering sky, rivers that cradle the salmon returning, wild geese in a silver flyby. What would we wish if we were the trembling newborn beneath the morning sun? Shelter and kindness, warmth and belonging, is that not what every life wants? So widen our golden rule, wider and wider still, till every family's safe and free, leaves on ocean, meadow, hill, not in fright, not out of sight, but shining where love can live. Do unto others, all our kin, the care we long to give. To others, beings for all reasons, wing and paw and fin and leaf, every heart joy and knows its grief. In Forest Glen, where the ferns are breathing, in ocean's blue, where the whales still roam, every mother sings to her baby, this earth is our ancient home. So widen our golden rule, wider and wider still, till every family safe and free lives on Ocean Meadow Hill, not in fright, not out of sight, but shining where love can live. Do unto others, all our kin, the care we long to give. Grandmother tree hears the wild pleas rising through the wind and the trembling ground, calves that cry for the touch of their mothers when the trucks come rumbling round, eating animals, taking their babies, drinking milk that was never ours. Is that the song of the golden rouge, or the shadow of human power? Will we always be forgiven for the sorrow we could not see? Is this the best of our bright intelligence, children of the galaxy? When Genesis whispered in the garden, 129 in morning light, seeds and fruits were given freely, food of mercy, food of life. After the flood the words were spoken, if you must in darker years, but must we still when the fields are blooming and compassion draws us near? We need not must. Worth keeps reminding through every river and every dove. Let us get back to the garden, hear the ancient rivers sing. Let the mothers keep their babies under sky and forest wing. Let the golden circle widen past the fences we once drew, till the lore of love grows larger than the fears we once outgrew. We are stardust, we are golden children of the cosmic sea. Every creature born beside us shares this fragile mystery. So widen now the golden circle like a sunrise on the earth, till every family walks in safety and compassion gives us birth. Widening our golden rule, wider and wider still, till every mother, every child lives on Ocean Meadow Hill, not in fright, not out of sight, but shining where love can live. Do unto others, all our kin, the care we long to give.
So this film that we've shared is an excellent advocacy tool. It's something that many people can watch. The beginning of it has mostly pleasing images, and then as it gets further, there are questions that really ask us about our own ethics and encourage us to look and ask the question, is this the example of golden rule? Does this show us treating others as we would want to be treated? So we are going to share this far and wide, and I think the plan is to reintroduce this video in the next year with as a reaction video where people show their reactions to watching it. I know the first few times, especially, I watched it, I was tearful, and I think that it will be very moving to see people's reactions and to share this with others around the world who may not be vegan yet. So, veganism is really the principle that humans should live without exploiting other animals. And there's actually a very long definition by Leslie Cross that goes into that in more detail. I encourage you to read at your leisure. And we know about being plant-based, that has to do with your diet and isn't as focused on our morals or how we treat other animals. Whereas vegan is about somebody who rejects the exploitation of animals, and that will involve not consuming animal products, in addition to not wearing animal products or seeking entertainment that involves exploitation of animals. So it is truly a practice. It's a spiritual practice that we embark on every single day with all of our choices. So I want to thank all of you who've made that choice and encourage everyone to consider it. And that's what our Interfaith Vegan Coalition does together as we come up with actions and special events and letters and initiatives to even reach out to the Pope that have to do with seeking that kind of moral efficacy for all living beings. And we have some campaigns, including one to stop lobster boil fundraisers. Believe it or not, in the Episcopalian tradition and many other spiritual traditions, the fundraising arm of those faith-based communities involve torturing animals for entertainment and for pleasure, meaning taste, and for community gatherings, including the food that they serve. So these lobster boil fundraisers have actually made like $30,000 for a faith-based organization, so they have a lot of motivation to do it. But what we're trying to do is counter that by providing compassionate fundraising opportunities. And so we are, in addition to that, we're going to be hosting a mock lobster fest featuring the B-52s, having them share their compassion towards animals. And we're going to be releasing a lobster in collaboration with one of our partners, Humane Long Island. And all of this will be part of a large event, the Mock Lobster Fest, which will hopefully deter people from going to actual lobster fests and join the Compassionate Lobster Fest instead. And this is all part of our lobster boil campaign to stop people from putting them into boiling pots of water. And so this is all about learning and seeing the truth. And as we know, Sir Paul McCartney said that if slaughterhouses had windows or glass walls, then more people would be vegan or vegetarian. So we firmly believe that and want to expose some of this cruelty so that we can practice our compassion. So the world that we want is one of peace, of nonviolence, of one where we do unto others as we would have them do unto us. And this is a justice movement. It's more than a diet. It is also a spiritual movement, which involves our morals and ethics and our spiritual practices on a daily basis. So the idea is that we want to normalize veganism by telling and showing the truth. So what you can do to support this, you can go vegan if you're not vegan already, encourage others to go vegan, practice vegan advocacy. You can sign our alerts. You can visit our resources pages. And I want to thank you for tuning in to this presentation today, and we will definitely have time for questions and answers. I'm going to go ahead and stop the share at this moment. And I wanted also to mention there's so much to share about the campaigns that In Defense of Animals does, and we have a couple others that I think I'd like to mention briefly. One is we started the National Goose Protection Coalition, and what we do is we try to stop roundups, which are the USDA will come to a community that may have complained about goose poop, and then under the cover of night, they'll corral the geese into these mobile fences, and then they pick them up and they put them into gas chambers set up in the back of these trucks. And they also kill the babies, they'll break their necks. And this is done during the time when the animals are molting. And we're talking about mothers and babies, and that is just epic cruelty because during the time where the geese cannot fly and they're grounded so that they can take care of their babies, that is when the USDA generally comes in and gasses the geese. Most people don't even know it happens because they clean up all the feathers, and by the time the sun has risen, they are gone. And people often think that these animals have flown away when really they've been brutally killed right there in the park. So we're encouraging people to take action by letting us know if you hear of any sort of roundup in your community or any kind of goose abuse. And we do have a website, stopgooseabuse.org. And these are efforts to try to prevent these roundups from happening before they start. And I think that's so appropriate for the mothers and babies campaigns because they happen to do this right when they're caring for their babies before they fly away. So that's an important one. And we are collaborating with United Poultry Concerns, that's also a member of our Interfaith Vegan Coalition, on their it's wings are for, what are wings for? Wings are for loving, for flying, for caring for their young. And so we're working in collaboration with them to promote and reinvigorate this campaign. And that's something we're going to be also working with Tammy on. So we're excited about this project coming up. So we have some time for some questions. Just wondering if anyone has any.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And big shout out to Ray Kwalichuk for that video. And Ray is going to be doing a video for the campaign, what wings are for, and bring the awareness that they're for protecting. Because almost everywhere you go in every city, you'll see big signs saying chicken wing night, and no one questions that. It's so common use. So maybe we'll be able to put up flyers in front of all of these places around the world and saying, this is what wings are for. So thank you very much, Lisa. Are there any questions or any comments, any sharing? You can just raise your hands.
There are a couple of questions, one from Sai and one from Jeanette.
Thank you, Lisa, for the great presentation. I was just going to ask, you said you presented at the Golden Rule Days and where you presented to a large non-vegan audience. So how was the response there, and have you got any new individuals or organizations on board? And how are you planning to do that throughout the year rather than just doing it every year on the Golden Rule Day? Because that has to be applied throughout the year, of course. That's one question. Also, you were telling you had some outreach campaigns to reach out to Pope. So what is that about, and how is progress towards that, if you can share anything about that?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for your questions. I really appreciate it. So we had a great reception at the Golden Rule Day presentation. Tammy was with us. We had two of our member organizations that were able to share as well. And so that was wonderful to bring Tammy on to talk about this event and how people could get involved in International Calf and Cow Mother's Day. What we did was we were part of the a presentation that they offered. So it was an online virtual presentation that was streamed around the world through the Charter for Compassion. And they had people from different religions present, from the Hindu tradition, from the Christian tradition, from the, I think there was also Sikh tradition, just many different traditions around the world. And each person spoke about how the golden rule was reflected in their tradition. And so we were able to collaborate and connect with all of the presenters. In fact, the person who originated International Golden Rule Day, Musi, was there, and he runs this organization, and he connected with all the different presenters, and we have a meeting scheduled to discuss how we can collaborate. So on that higher level of strategy, we were able to connect with the other presenters. Now, this went out to a global audience, and it wasn't an interactive presentation where people asked questions. It was much more of a visual one where people saw this and they were able to watch it and to share it, but not necessarily to interact as much with all this. Now, that presentation is on social media. It's also on the Charter for Compassion's website and on YouTube. So it's something that we can share. I can get the link for you and share it in the chat. And that way you can take a look at the presentation if you'd like to.
Yeah.
And you had a part two. Let me see if I can remember the part two of the
As you're saying, you're outreaching to Pope. So what is that about?
Yes, yes, yes. And we have done some various Pope outreach over the years through the Interfaith Vegan Coalition. One time was when the previous Pope, I think there was an opportunity to reach out to him because he had mentioned that it was of more value to have human babies than to have other animal companion babies, let's say. And so we reached out with a media release to counter that and encourage the Pope to consider different ways of approaching family and looking at our animal companions as a part of members of our family. And then we also reached out to the Pope regarding veganism to encourage the Pope to explore a vegan lifestyle, but also a plant-based diet, because the previous Pope was very interested in this and had reached out to another organization and brought them into a high-level planning meeting. And then from there, I think it was, I'm trying to remember the name of the group. It might have been Farm Forward or something like that. That that organization is also a vegan-based group, and they reached out to us and encouraged us to also submit comments to the Pope. So we did do that. And we've also encouraged the Pope to consider our animal companions, the loyal ones known for being loyal, the dogs, because in some places where the Pope was traveling, for example, he traveled to Turkey, and dogs and street dogs and cats are being murdered by the millions there right now due to a government proclamation, and that to kill 4 million of the animals. So we've been working with our international partners to stop that and provide funding for a lot of the rescue groups there. It's still a very dire situation, and we wrote a letter to the Pope encouraging him to address this when he spoke there in Turkey. And we did get confirmation from someone in his office that he received the letter, but he did not mention that when he had the opportunity to address the public or government officials there. So it doesn't always work when we reach out to these people, but sometimes it at least gets their mind thinking of this, or at least the people who work closely with them.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for your question. Really appreciate it, Sai. Looks like we have Jeanette.
Okay, so I've been a vegan a long time. Thank you, Lisa, for your presentation. And I just want to know, like, if someone wanted to be able to expose children to that video and to get have a way to get younger minds to watch something like that. But I live in Florida where there's a lot of indoctrination and a lot of anti-vegan rhetoric. I just don't know, like, how. I mean, I know I could do a meetup or something, but I just I think that golden rule video was so cool, and it would be so nice to show it to a group of kids because I'm a school teacher, but I'm not working in a regular school right now. I'm just substituting, so I don't know how you can go about getting people interested to bring their kids and to come to see something like that as a group. I don't know if you have any ideas.
Hmm. I think that's a good idea that you have to do some outreach with that video. I'm going to put a link to the video uh, in the chat, so that way anyone can know you can find that video on um, the video is available. It's on the In Defense of Animals YouTube channel under Interfaith Vegan Coalition. But regardless, there's the link. And one thing you could do is perhaps reach out to the youth coordinator if you're thinking of trying to access faith-based communities. You can reach out to the place of worship and talk to the youth coordinator there and say, oh, I'd love to be able to have conversations with the students there. I have a wonderful video I'd love to share. And you could do that. Maybe you put together a little talk on compassion for animals and how that, that represents our, the golden rule and how that is part of their tradition. The golden rule, it depends what kind of faith-based place of worship you'd be going to. But the nice thing about the golden rule and the reason Musi started that organization, International Golden Rule Day, was because he has this giant poster that shows how the golden rule is reflected in, like, I think it's more than 100 different religions. It's part of their liturgy, their scripture. So that is a lovely thing to bring. You could even do a little presentation on the golden rule and how, we want to treat others the way we want to be treated. That's one way to bring that in that wouldn't necessarily focus so much on a devotion to God per se, but it would be about how we practice our love, our divine love.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. They're just some ideas. I think a lot of these places are open to having presentations, especially if you bring it in on the theme of the golden rule or on compassion for all living beings, or for animals, kindness to animals, that might be a different way to approach it with these places of worship.
And I was just thinking, it just popped into my head that maybe the local library might let me do something with the kids, but I don't know because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how strict they are about what is being seen, but it is harder in Florida than anywhere, I believe.
Could be. I put a link to, we have our Interfaith Vegan Coalition produce these vegan kits. And what they are is they are ways to do faith-based advocacy within the tradition of Christianity, Islam, um, uh, Hindu culture. We have like 10 different kits that are faith specific. So you can look up, which faith you have. And they have all these different ideas in them, like how to approach the pastor or the rabbi and what kinds of events maybe to offer. There's stories that you can share. There's a Buddhist kit. There's a Zoroastrian kit. There's a lot of resources there for you, and you're welcome to just click on the link and you can look at them. They're downloadable. those are meant not so much as advocacy to give, but more for all of us, for activists to go in and have something to say when we want to talk to the place of worship. Like, I'd like to bring in show you how our vegan values can align with our morals and ethics of our tradition.
Thanks. That's great.
Yeah, sure. No
I'll look
problem.
at your website.
Oh, yes, yes, please do. There might be some other ideas that you get from there. I'll try to put some more links in here.
Cool. Thanks, Lisa.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you for that presentation.
Oh, thank you
Thank you
for
so much.
inviting me to share. I am so grateful to you, Silas, and to Tammy for putting together this incredible convergence and your dedication to doing it.
I have to tell you that I've been really busy this month. It's all the team. It's Tammy and the team who did all the work. I'm just a passenger here, just like you.
How great it is to be a passenger every once in a while.
Right.
You have done
Yeah. I
much
had
work
I had a comment on one of your slides.
Yes.
When you define vegan as living without exploiting animals, that's a negative framing.
Mhm.
And I find that a positive framing, like I use the acronym vitally engaged guardians of animals and nature, vitally engaged guardian of animals and nature, that brings everyone in. They all want to be that. They don't want to be destroyers of animals and nature, right?
Yes, I love that. That is even better. I think even better to promote something that's positive, that gives people ideas of what they can do instead of what they can't do. Here are all the things you can't do, but here's what you can do. And you can enjoy um, grains, fruits, beans,
Right.
so much. There's just a plethora of what you can have. So that's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah, please feel free to use it. You don't have to attribute it to me or anyone. Just take it.
Oh, thank you, thank you. That is great. Let's do that. We have
Right.
our quarterly meeting. We can mention that too during our quarterly meeting for all of the member organizations of the Interfaith Vegan Coalition, because it will help everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, yes, yes. My pleasure. I'm definitely open to feedback and open to ways to improve and to be more inviting and engaging to everyone.
Net, or was that her name, the woman who just spoke? She might want to get in, even though the golden rule is the faith-based spiritual thing, she might want to get in touch with Susan Hargreaves, who lives in West Palm Beach, Animal Hero Kids. And when she says it's more difficult in Florida than any place else, she must be talking about our Stone Age governor, DeSantis. To talk about these crazy ideas of extending compassion, but she might want to contact Susan. I think that might be helpful to her as well. And I think what you're doing in terms of collaboration is so important. And I know Jane spoke about this. When we were in Mexico City a couple years ago, we had a walking tour, saw tons of dog parks, and our guide shocked us. He said, yes, we're dog crazy here. The residents voted to raise their taxes in the city to provide emergency ambulance service for animals. And we almost fell over, like, okay, I remember when Turkey wasn't killing animals, but now they are. Morocco's killing animals. We're euthanizing dogs. And here they're saying, an animal in trouble, we're going to go help you and we're willing to pay for it. So I think what I realized at that point, I thought, wow, no one region or country or nobody holds all the cards. And there are good, positive, innovative things happening everywhere. And not only do we need the infrastructure for sharing, we need the web. I don't know, who talked about the web? Was that you or Jane? But I think, as well as the willingness to collaborate, I think once we get our infrastructure set up like so many other advocacy groups have that are global, because our movement is still nascent in some sense, although it's growing rapidly, but it's global. It is a global movement. And I think if we can find out, best practices all around the world and have useful ways to do that, that will be really helpful to everyone.
Yes, that is a great idea to collaborate and share resources. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we have done that with some of the member organizations that we have, and even
Mm-hmm.
this group, Dharma Voices for Animals. They have
Mm-hmm.
on their website a program called the Eyes and Ears, and that's what we modeled our vegan kits after. They have they approach different temples and the Buddhist temples, and they encourage them to start even something simple and small with looking at what types of cleaning products do they use, and would they be willing
Mm-hmm.
to switch to cruelty-free ones that are not experimented on animals, and
Mm-hmm.
they will pay the difference, which is usually just a few cents one way or the other, to encourage some of these places to start to practice some of the compassion through their purchases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. There's lots of and the we were just at the Moon and Sun Bear Sanctuary that Animals Asia has in Vietnam. And they were setting up, they do a lot with humane education, and they were setting up competitions, focus things for school kids. I guess this was high school, to devise herbal alternatives to bear bile, because the government is going to shut down the industry. It's going to happen. But the fact that they're trying to engage communities and students in finding alternatives so that they can be proactive and do something creative to be helpful, just very clever. So all of this stuff that you guys are doing is so wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That is a fabulous program. I love that. It's a great way to really bring in the community so that they feel like they're part of it. And also,
Mm-hmm.
there are so many herbal alternatives to
Right.
that what the bear bile function is supposed to be for. And that's a great work, a person's life work. I think it was Jill
Right.
Robinson. He started that.
Jill
Amazing.
Robinson. Yeah. I just found out she was a veterinarian. I didn't know that. But yeah,
Mm.
no, they do a great job, and they're getting results.
Yes, yes, I'm a complete and total supporter of them.
Yeah.
Love their work, and her story is so moving.
Right. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, we're working to stop the bringing in pandas into pandas are often thought of as a political ploy, and um, they bring them to different zoos, and they brought them to a zoo in Memphis, and they didn't treat them properly. They just didn't have the capacity to care for them well, and one of them ended up dying, and the other one did go back to China. So we're working on campaigns to help protect
Hmm.
pandas by stopping this kind of uh, uh, bargaining tool. Right now in San Francisco is one of the next possible locations for bringing in a panda, and they have not shown themselves to be able to care for even the animals they have currently. So we
Like
do,
most zoos.
yeah, most zoos and San Francisco especially. So yeah, we're trying to lobby the legislators there to turn it into an eco park. So stay tuned on
Mhm.
that. That is a big campaign for us. We hope to have an eco park there instead of a zoo.
Cool.
Yeah. Yes. Looks like maybe there's another question. I think we're possibly at time, but I'll let everyone tell us that. Sai, did you have another question?
Yeah, uh, if you have the time. So I'll just quickly ask, do you think one of the reasons why faith leaders wouldn't, they'll be reluctant to change is because they don't want to admit their mistake, and because these things have been happening for decades or even from centuries? Uh, that's one part. And even if they want to change, why would they admit their mistake in front of all other faith leaders? So is this the dynamic which plays out? I don't know. I just wanted to pick your brains on that. Yeah. And
Yes,
that's
that
one.
could
And
be. I
another
think
quick question is like, have you considered to you and Tammy is, have you considered translating that song, which is so beautiful, into languages?
that is a brilliant idea. Tammy will work on that. That is a great idea, I think, to possibly translate it into other languages. Thank you so much, Sai. It's a wonderful idea. And yes, like Silas said, we do want to make this change or transition something very positive rather than shaming or having the faith leaders be embarrassed or not wanting to change for those reasons, to really have it be inviting and positive. And that is, I think, how we will expand our circle of compassion around the world. So thank you very, very much for your beautiful ideas and your sharings. Really appreciate it, Sai.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And thanks, Lisa. You know, I was just thinking when you were speaking, Lisa and I have worked on a few projects together, and we were both on the Light of the Animal Kingdom. That's how we got to know all the Reverend Mothers. And we shared a video that Ray did, not this one, but another one they did. And some people went vegan overnight. They were vegetarian. And when they watched that video, they just made the connection with the mothers and babies of the dairy industry. And that was so beautiful. So there's all kinds of ways. But the one thing, you were asked a question, Lisa, about whether, how do people respond? And what we're seeing more and more of is people are opening to this. And so one of the projects that Lisa and I have a meeting with on Monday is the Compassion Games. And they're a very large community, international, for peace and a lot of human rights, and of course, animal rights. But we're going to really bring in animal rights, is veganism. And so the Compassion Games is going to be going for 90 days. And so stay tuned for all the ways that we can all join together in the Compassion Games, from beginning on the solstice, of summer solstice until autumn. And thank you. Thanks again, Lisa. Namaste, vegan.
Namaste,
And right now, thank you, Lisa.
In the early morning quiet, when the fields are breathing slow, there's a mother calling softly for the child she came to know. We took her milk, we took her baby, called it custom, called it need. But the earth remembers every bond we break to feed our greed. Bring the cows back to their mothers, bring the milk back to the young. Let no baby be taken before their life's begun. Bring them home to their mothers, let their bodies tell the truth. What was made for loving was never ours to use. She knows him by his breathing, by the sound beneath his cry, by the way the dawn is shining in his dark and liquid eyes. This is more than instinct speaking, more than nature's simple way. This is a love that crosses species, older than the word away. Bring the cows back to their mothers, let the circle still be whole. What is taken breaks the planet, what is love restores the soul. Bring them home to their mothers, let compassion be our guide. Every child beside their mother, every mother with her child. I have walked where moose give birth, where the cows lay down to calve. Placenta on the forest floor, a boundary sacred, raw and vast. I did not belong inside that circle, and she let me know it true. She ushered me back from the forest, from her home, where she belonged, not you. Bring the cows back to their mothers, honor where the birth blood lies. There are laws older than markets, written in the mother's eyes.
This last year, the krill fishery took 650,000 metric tons out of the Southern Ocean. And this is literally taking the food out of the mouths of whales and penguins, seabirds and seals. These species are being severely impacted by the greed of the krill fishery.
And out beyond the breaking waves, where the great blue mothers roam, there are calves beneath the surface, learning oceans as their home. We reach deep for tiny bodies, scoop the krill from living seas, but that food was was made for mothers and the young they hold and feed. Leave the krill for ocean mothers, leave the seas to feed their young. Let the whales and gentle giants raise their babies strong and sound. Bring them home to their mothers, land and ocean, hoof and fin. When we stop what's not ours to take, the healing can begin. We are waking from a long divided dream, where we fed on domination and called violence routine. Now a wider love is moving through our hands and what we choose. Every meal a sacred promise that no mother has to lose. Beloved, stand beside me with your feet upon the ground. Let our lives be living answers, let protection make it sound. This is how the world turns gentle, this is how the old ways end. When we choose the mother-child bond again and again and again. Bring the cows back to their mothers, let the mothers keep their.
It's a tiny bit less than 80 acres. I have Jersey cows, Holstein cows, a yak.
She estimates she's rescued about 158 cows.
And most cows don't get to live like this. It makes me happy.
Tack Ryder says she got to know cows working at a dairy farm in 1976.
The cows were just wonderful, and when they stopped making milk, they got slaughtered.
She decided to create the sanctuary after tragedy struck.
Huge storm, and I found all these dead cows in the field. The first cows I had were the 6 babies that survived the lightning storm.
She wrote a children's book about that experience, with proceeds benefiting the nonprofit, which she runs herself.
We feel entitled to artificially inseminate a cow, and when she gives birth, we steal her baby. Even though her cries of anguish are unmistakable,